Hello everybody, it is Tony with Big T Bariatric and I am back at you with another reaction video. Today, it's Thursday, it's January 19th. I hope you're having a great one so far. It is almost Friday, so hallelujah, raise the roof, all that stuff. Yeah, if you could do me a huge favor, please hit the subscribe button down below. My analytics tell me that 85% of the people who watch my videos are not subscribed, and so please help us reach that 2,000 subscriber mark. I greatly appreciate it. Also, leave a like, leave a comment. Let's get the algorithm going in our favor here. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. So many of you have requested that I do a Kiana Docherty, I think that's how you say her last name, that you do her videos. And many of you have also requested that I react to Foodie Beauty. And so since Kiana does a video on Foodie Beauty, then I'm going to kill two birds with one stone here and do this video. So I hope you guys enjoy it. We'll see what's going on with it, what Kiana has to say about Foodie Beauty. Hopefully it's something that tries to hold her accountable, I guess. If you're also somebody who does not like me going long, this is an 18-minute video, so I'm probably going to go long. The commentary is probably going to be pretty long, so just fair warning ahead of time. I don't want to see no comments talking about how I talk too damn much or anything else like that. But here we go. Let's react now.
Eating delicious food, to me, it feels like a job now. At first it was a bit rocky because I was like, oh wow, you know, all this food. But now it's like, it's a job. And around that, I embrace eating healthy.
She really looks like she embraces eating healthy. And I'm not making fun of her, so don't come at me. But yeah, she does not look like she eats healthy. I mean, there are a lot of people who who are professional eaters who do eat for a living, but they are skinny as a rail. And why is that? Is because they really do embrace eating healthy outside of their job. They exercise a lot to burn off all the excess calories that they eat. So her just sort of saying, oh, this is a job to me now. Yeah, you're doing it for clicks and likes and money. So it is a job, but it's also helping you justify your eating disorder. It's very clear that you are addicted to food by how you look and how big you are. And you are just going to justify eating badly by saying, oh, it's a job, it pays the bills. Oops, I don't know what I just hit.
I embrace eating healthy.
You know how we talked about before how some of these people are consider food like their sex? And I even said in one my 600-pound life video, I'm like, she's cheating on you with food, man. Just look at her eating and the sound she's making. This is her sex. She gets all kinds of pleasure out of this.
Foodie Beauty, aka Chantal Marie, is a YouTuber who really loves to eat.
I know what you're thinking. You prostituted yourself for pizza? It gets worse.
Unfortunately for Chantal, her terrible diet and weight have led to some very serious health concerns, leading her to believe correctly that she...
Alright, let's look at some of these. Just a few health updates. Health not doing so great. I have a blood clot in my lung. Obesity-related health issues. I went back to the ER. My hysterectomy journey. So it looks like regardless of her health issues, she is still continuing to perpetuate her eating habits.
She must change her behavior in order to save her health and potentially her life.
Chantal has engaged in many attempts to lose weight over the years, but she hasn't had any success to date. I'd love to show you more than a few of those attempts here, but Chantal is very famous for her cycle of posting a video saying she's gonna change her life.
I'm saying this to you guys for accountability. I want you to help me through this journey. I really want to see this through.
Then deleting it and posting back-to-back videos of her doing massive mukbangs for like a month in a row.
How are you? How are you? I need a chip right now.
So that really tells me right off the bat that she knows what she's doing is wrong. She knows it's killing her. She wants to change. She wants to stop eating that way, but she's drawn to the financial aspects of her eating. Just like with Nikocado Avocado, some of you have told me that he's playing a part, he's playing a bit, that he's mocking Anne Boleyn and stuff like that. But he's gained over 250 pounds. If he's mocking Anne Boleyn by continuing to eat the way he does, I think that's just a justification for him indulging in eating whatever he wants. And he's risking his life by making those videos. The same way here that Foodie Beauty has these heart-to-hearts where she's saying, hey, I need your help, I need your support, I need your encouragement. That's why I make these videos, and I'm really sticking to my diet. And when I posted my weigh-in video yesterday, many of you were very supportive of me, even though I lost only 14 pounds that month. Some of you were willing to kick me in the butt, which is exactly what I needed. If I'm willing to dish it on here, I'm willing to take it. Like, I need all that encouragement. It's all good to me. So yeah, it's great to post YouTube videos and say, I need your support, help me through this, let's overcome this food addiction. But for her to immediately delete that video and go back to mukbangs, you'll never see me do that. But at the same time, it's that draw. She says that she's justifying it by, it pays the rent, it pays the bills, I get paid for doing this, this is a job to me now. It's also her sex and her comfort and her joy. So, you know, that's probably why she's not going to be too successful. And if she's having all kinds of health issues from her obesity, then I don't think she's going to make it very much longer. And it's going to take something very serious happening to her. I mean, even if a blood clot in her lung did not scare her, I don't know what will.
Obvious reason for Chantel's cycle of failure is her extreme love of fast food. Although Chantel is not currently on a diet, she's in the mukbang phase of her cycle right now. Her history suggests that she'll probably be on another one soon. In this video, we'll be discussing why Chantel may as well not even bother trying again unless she's willing to address this one very important thing first.
Psychologists have found that when we attempt to make a big change in our lives or overcome an addiction, we go through what are called the states of change.
Chantel is constantly flip-flopping between the action and contemplation states of change, with most of her time being spent in the contemplation state of change, which is defined by being torn between wanting to make the change and wanting to keep things the same. Which, I mean, if that is not Chantel in a nutshell, I don't know what is.
I say this all the time. Why can't this food be good for you? Why? Maybe all we would do is eat in that case, huh?
Research on successful long-term changers, that's people who ended a drug addiction, quit smoking, or lost a massive amount of weight and kept it off, shows that the only way that people can overcome an addiction and change their behavior for good is if their personal pros and cons list begins to tip toward more meaningful pros than cons. This is something.
That's exactly what I tell people. People ask me all the time, Tony, what was that drawing line for you where you decided that you needed to do this journey? And it becomes that the cons list does get worse and worse. Your health gets worse and worse the older you get, the longer you're obese. So a lot of these 20-year-olds who are saying that you can be healthy at any size really have not lived long enough yet for the consequences of obesity to hit them. So, you know, you can be overweight and younger, but as you get older, the cons list grows and grows and grows. And nobody else around you can convince you to try to lose weight. They can't do it. Like, I've had so many people try over 20 years of my life, since the time I was a teenager, trying to get me on the exercise bike, trying to get me on this diet or that diet, being very concerned with me, taking me to the doctor because they felt that there was just something wrong with me. And time again, there was nothing wrong with me. I had no high blood pressure. I had no problems or no issues or pain. But as I got older and pushing 40 years old, that's when the knee pain set in and the back pain set in and high blood pressure was increasing. And I realized that, okay, what the doctor said was true, that I wasn't going to make it to 40 at my current rate of weight gain. And so, you know, you're going to have to get to that point where the cons are overwhelming your desire to eat, your food addiction. And so it was at that point where I realized that my food addiction was not worth dying for, that there were so many other things in my life that I wanted greater than food. And now that I'm on this side of it, I see that there are so many more things that give me pleasure, that give me joy, that aren't food.
Something called decisional balance. In Chantel's case, she is the first person to tell you that she absolutely does not want to stop eating fast food, but that she has to because of her deteriorating health.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to give this up? Why can't this food be good for you? It's like a joke. No. It's like, here, I'm gonna give you all this food your body craves. It's hyper palatable. It's so pleasurable. Releases endorphins in your brain. But you can't have any. No, you can have some, but it's not good for you. Shake my head.
She has two conflicting desires, the desire to get healthy and the desire to continue her daily fast food binges.
But in the end, it's pretty obvious to anyone watching Chantel's channel that her desire to continue eating fast food is a lot stronger than her desire to lose weight or get healthy. Her pros and cons list is definitely tipped more toward cons when it comes to changing her behavior. As we'll see in these next clips, Chantel is constantly flip-flopping between wanting to change her ways and just staying obese.
That's where the dangerous part is, right? When you are starting to get more cons than positives, but you still can't seem to overcome your food addiction.
I have these reasons I believe in now that I need to do this, and I know my life will be a lot better 365 days from now, 364 days from now. That's why I think weight loss journeys are bullshit. I'm not downing you if you have a weight loss journey and you're losing weight. That's amazing. I'm so happy for you. But for me, no. I really don't know what I was thinking with all these mukbangs. I'm gonna do mukbangs, and if you don't like it, you don't have to watch. Because I don't know if I can handle another binge and the guilt and the despair. So whenever I made that video, I'm never gonna binge again, at that time, in that mind frame, I was on a high. I'm eating myself to death. My new attitude is my weight, my health, what I eat is my business.
Yeah, she's constantly conflicted, going back and forth between what she knows is right, what she knows she needs to do, and actually not wanting to put the work in. And that's what it seems like it's coming down to for Foodie Beauty. She does not want to put the work in. So she gets to that point, she knows she has to do it, and it's overwhelming to her because she feels guilty when she binges. She has this overwhelming despair over it. She wants to lose her weight. Her health is deteriorating. But at the same time, it's like she just doesn't want to put the work in. When she comes up against that wall, that very first day where she tries to diet, it's like she can't break through. And so it's like, I got to go back to binging because this is going to be too much work for me.
The reason for all this flip-flopping, Chantel does not want to change her behavior. Chantel wants the outcome of weight loss, but she's not at all interested in the process.
That's exactly true. It's all about thinking, okay, I have hundreds of pounds to lose. That's too much work. I might as well just keep doing what I'm doing.
That is responsible for getting her there. Mainly quitting eating fast food every day, beginning to eat healthy food, and generally living a healthier lifestyle.
I hate cardio.
In fact, Chantel believes that no one could possibly want to stop eating fast food, but rather they're forced to based on their circumstances.
You have to be ready to quit.
That's kind of what I've been saying, right? You have to be ready to quit. At some point, your cons are going to force you to quit. That's why I'm like deciding now that I need to quit, right? Because if things get worse, there might not be no coming back from that. So yeah, your cons are going to force you to quit or you're going to die. I mean, that's just it.
You're never ready. Never. You don't quit because you want to. That's bullshit. You do it because you have to.
Now, if anyone here has ever successfully stopped smoking or quit an addiction, you know that what she just said is not true. Wanting to change the specific...
I mean, it's true to a point, I think, in my own experience, that, yeah, you're going to want to change. Like, I've always wanted to diet. I've always wanted to lose weight. Like, I wanted to be healthy. I wanted to be married. I wanted to have a normal life. But my food addiction overcame all those feelings. And so now when I talk about, you know, when people ask me, Tony, why are you doing this? Why do you want to change? And why are you so successful at it now? Well, I wanted to do it. So yeah, part of it is want. That desire to have these things is now greater than what my food addiction was. But at the same time, I was forced to do it out of fear, out of the risk of dying. Like, I was even told that when I was fearing the weight loss surgery itself, that because it could be risky, that the risk of dying of obesity-related diseases was higher than the surgery. And so you just kind of get to that point where you consider the risks and the benefits of certain things, and if you don't get the help, you're going to die. So I was at that point where I felt like I had no other choice. I was being forced into it. But I realized also that I need to overcome my food addiction. So I didn't want to change because the food gave me pleasure, but at the same time I had to change. So I can kind of see both sides of this.
Specific behavior that is causing the problem is, from what I've seen, a necessary condition of change. Maybe there are some outliers, but from what I have seen in the research, you need to want to change that behavior to be able to change it. But for
Yeah, other people can't force you to diet and exercise and lose weight. You have to want to do that. And that's why so many diets fail, is because people have been telling you your entire life, you need to change, you need to exercise, you need to diet. And that sort of makes you feel depressed, that makes you feel judged. And when you feel judged, you just sort of don't want to change for that reason. Instead, you become a contrarian, where you just do contrary of what other people try to tell you. Because you're like, screw them, I'm going to do whatever I want. And you've seen Foodie Beauty have that same attitude. Like, I don't care what other people think. This is my diet. This is my business. You can mind your own business type attitude. And so that's where we get when we feel people are judging us and trying to tell us to lose weight. So you might be guilted into trying to lose weight, but just like Tammy, so many times her family tried to help her, tried to get her to lose weight, and she refused to do it, and she got angry at them and pushed back against them so many times that every single member of her family gave up. But it took her going into a coma to decide that she needed to change. And as we've seen, if you've watched season 4, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but it looks like she is really wanting to get out of the rehab center early again. So yeah, it's one of those situations.
Chantel, she feels that she's being forced by her medical circumstances to give up something that she loves. She feels that her health, her audience, her doctors are dictating to her that she must stop eating fast food. This causes rebellion, something we see in Chantel quite often.
Yeah, that rebellion, when you feel people are judging you, pushing back against you, trying to tell you you can't do something, you're going to want to do that even more. And so there's got to be a healthier way that we can talk with people about obesity and their health issues. But at some point, it's going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy, because all those things are going to come rearing its ugly head. All your health conditions are going to eventually force you to do it, and you have no excuses at that point. You have to stop rebelling against those who really do love you and want your best interests.
And an emotional taboo around fast food that makes it ultra seductive, something called psychological reactance.
I'm not going to be intimidated to change who I am or how I act. Like, if you don't like it, don't watch me.
Chantel feels that what she really wants is to keep eating as she has been. But what she needs to do, what she has to do, is to diet. Changing her diet is a should for Chantel, not an I want to. And for her to lose weight successfully, this is what has to change. This is actually what people are referring to when they say someone is not ready to change. It's a matter of actually wanting to change the specific behavior that has caused the problem. It's not enough to want the outcome of weight loss. You have to want to change what got you there. For example, if you were smoking cigarettes, say, to change that behavior, you'd have to want to quit smoking more than you wanted to continue smoking. It doesn't mean that the desire to smoke cigarettes is not there at all. It simply means that your desire to change is more than your desire to stay the same.
Yeah, my mom is a smoker, and she's been smoking since she was 16 years old, and we've tried many times to try to get her to quit, and she absolutely refuses to do so. At one point, she tried, it seemed like, but I caught her out back smoking before, and it turned into a big fight, But we care for her health. We see her health deteriorating. We know cigarettes causes all kinds of problems and diseases and cancer and all that stuff, because there's thousands of harmful chemicals in cigarettes. And at this point, I've given up trying, because it's like she does not want to quit. Like, she's so far gone in terms of her addiction that there's absolutely no changing it. There's nothing I can do anymore. We've tried and tried as a family, and it was the same way with me and obesity. They tried and tried and tried, Nothing worked. I burned my bridges. They stopped trying. They stopped trying to help me out because I was just so far gone. And so if my mom was to quit smoking, it would have to be something that she wanted to do. And it would probably be because she got cancer, which is sad. And it breaks my heart that it's going to have to come to that for her to decide to quit smoking. But she may never quit. You know, even then, my grandma had lung cancer and she eventually died from cancer. But a cancer diagnosis did not stop her from smoking. And it was really sad. At the same time, when it comes to the obesity issue with Foodie Beauty, she's going to have to decide that she wants to quit. There's no forcing her to quit. And, you know, something bad happening to her is going to have to be that force that comes against her food addiction. And she's going to have to decide, does she want to live more or does she want to diet?
So until Chantel actually wants to change, she will not succeed.
How am I supposed to give this up?
Desire is an extremely powerful emotion. It might not be the first emotion you think of when you think of emotions, but it is. It's that emotional quality of wanting something really, really badly. Dr. Jonathan Haidt is a social psychologist from NYU who talks about the idea of the elephant and the rider as the two parts of the brain. The elephant is the emotional part of our brain, whereas the rider is the logical part. The elephant part of our brain is ancient. It actually hasn't changed that much since the early days of our development. It's actually remarkably similar hardware to this day to what a lamprey has. This is the fight or flight area. It's instinctual. It's what keeps us alive. And as a result, it's extremely powerful.
I'm going to check, make sure I'm still on the screen here. Sorry about that. My back's still hurting, so I have to keep shifting and I keep getting out of the camera. All right, let's get back into it.
Especially when it comes to governing our behavior. The logical part, the rider, is a lot younger. It deals with more sophisticated processes and it's not quite as powerful. As long as the elephant and the rider are in agreement, the rider remains in control. But if you've ever seen a man on an elephant, you know that that control is an illusion.
We've seen this so much, especially with the fat positivity movement. And we've done many, many videos on like Virgie Tovar and these people who are just so emotionally connected to their diet, to their fatness, that their emotional desires and stuff overweighs their logic. And so they're completely denying proven factual science about obesity because their emotions tell them to. And a lot of them, food is their lover, food is their sex, food is their desire. And so that's why they are so emotionally connected. Like that one lady I did a review of who was crying her heart out. Her eyes she just could not contain herself over people posting before and after videos and pictures. She was so distraught over that. She was triggered by people posting before and after videos. If you haven't watched that, it's in my video list, maybe 2 videos down or so. So that's absolutely crazy to be that emotionally distraught over people who are actually succeeding in their diet. And it's one of those things where she probably desires that after picture. She wants to lose weight. She's miserable being her size, but she's unwilling to put the work in, and so she's distraught over it. I wasn't making fun of her. I wasn't trying to laugh at her crying. I was just laughing at the ridiculous things that she was saying. She was trying to justify her size. And she wanted to lose weight. She wanted the after picture, but it was too much work for her at that age, and she's going to have to get to a point where it's worth it to her to exercise it and lose weight.
Everything's all good until the elephant decides to freak the fuck out. We can have a million logical reasons to change, but our behavior is driven by our emotion, not logic. So none of those reasons matter an ounce unless the emotional part is on the same side. So because Chantel feels that what she desires more than anything is to eat fast food every day.
Let's give you a beauty bite. Oh my god!
And what is that logical side? That logical side tells you, I can't keep doing this. I'm going to die unless I change. So again, that con list has to grow so strongly that it overcomes that emotional connection with food. And you're going to have to realize that your relationship with food is toxic. How many couples have you seen in your life who are toxic, who just ended up getting back together? And the abuse continued, they broke up, and they got back together. Time and time again, they keep getting back together. Like that desire, maybe people like bad boys, bad girls, whatever. And so that desire to keep getting back together is the emotional side, and it overwhelms the logical side that says, why are you getting back involved with this loser, this toxic person? And so that toxicity is there, but you have to realize it's there, and the abuse has to escalate to a point where you realize that, hey, this is an abusive relationship. This person is only hurting me, destroying my self-peace, destroying me physically, emotionally, mentally. I have to get away from this person. So it's that same way with food. If you have a toxic relationship with food, you're going to have to realize that, hey, this thing is only killing me. It gives me so much joy and pleasure, but it's killing me.
Beauty bite. I know this sounds bad, but that bite was like worth being fat for.
This is what she wants with the emotional part of her brain. The process of losing weight is going to be A, awful, and B, dependent on her level of willpower on any given day. Science has shown that willpower is finite. It doesn't last very long. And that means that any weight loss attempt of Chantel's is destined to fail.
It feels like a job now.
As long as Chantel continues to view healthy eating as a tedious prison sentence, she's never going to be able to consistently engage in it. Living a healthy lifestyle is something that needs to be kept up for life if we're going to actually lose weight and be healthy.
And that's what I've been living, right? People seeing my weigh in, and I've only lost 14 pounds, and telling me, hey, what are you doing, man? Why are you eating chips and dip? And like watching that video over again that I posted yesterday, like I heard myself. Like all these excuses for why my weight loss wasn't better. And there was a lot of love and support from people saying 14 pounds, that was a huge thing. Congratulations, you were doing awesome. Don't beat yourself up for that. But at my size, I should be losing double that per month. I should be losing at least 30 pounds a month. And so the fact that I haven't yet was, some of that same emotional eating started creeping back into my life. So I was using excuses like, oh, there's a big Michigan game on Saturday. There's the national championship game. There's the Big Ten championship game. And all these excuses to watch football and to watch movies and just eat like garbage. Like, I didn't need to indulge in all that. I'm trying to lose weight. I'm trying to get healthy. And that's what Sean Steele told me. If you read his comment in my video yesterday, like, it's now or never, buddy. You got to get going. You got to keep fighting back. You're either going to do it now or you're going to die. Because even though I'm losing weight, I'm still over 500 pounds. Like, I'm not out of the woods yet. So even when you're doing well and you have a YouTube channel that's growing and people are finding you to be inspirational and they love your journey, I'm still struggling, guys. Like, I'm not where I need to be yet. I'm still working on overcoming my food addictions. And I've said in other videos, hey, my food addiction's gone. Well, apparently it's not gone, because I still have that emotional connection to food where, I talked about in another video, my reasons for celebrating the holidays was all connected around food. There was nothing more exciting to me than being able to eat on the holidays. After the tedious weight loss journey and being on a liquid diet for so long and missing out on Thanksgiving, I was overexcited about Christmas because I got to indulge in all of my favorite Christmas treats. And that was my favorite part of the holiday over anything else. And so, you're always going to be battling that food addiction. I don't think it ever goes away, that emotional connection to food. So I guess what I am learning is to, celebrate in different ways, to live my life differently where I find pleasure in other things other than food. And it's working, but you're still going to have some connection to that. Like, if you have an addiction to cigarettes, you're always going to crave a cigarette. That's always going to be something that you crave. In the same way, food is probably always going to be something that you crave. If you were addicted to pain pills, You're going to crave pain medication, probably for the rest of your life. If you're a sex addict, you're probably going to crave sex your whole life. Like, those things just do not go away.
No one can consistently engage in something that they hate.
It's ridiculous for people to be like, you're gonna die. Oh well, we're all gonna die. And honestly, I don't want to live to be 70, 80 eating kale.
That means in order to succeed, Chantel actually has to change her attitude and her beliefs about fast food. There has to be a fundamental shift there. She has to literally want to stop eating fast food and start eating healthy food.
Why can't this food be good for you?
So how can someone do this? How can someone with an admitted food addiction, who clearly gets a lot of pleasure out of their meals, want to stop eating fast food? Obviously, it's not going to be easy, and it's a complicated process. Some people have like a rock bottom moment or an epiphany where they feel so much pain and unhappiness that they never quite view food the same way again.
That's what I've been saying, right? That your con list is going to be so long that it's going to have to overwhelm that emotional connection to food. It's that toxic relationship. You have to realize that it gives me pleasure, but it's hurting me, and I don't want to deal with that any longer.
It loses its sparkle, so to speak. But no one can engineer a rock bottom moment, unfortunately, and honestly, Chantel seems to have them all the time.
They say that most people have to hit a rock bottom to change, and the amount of health issues I've amassed for myself because of my obesity is definitely scary and eye-opening for me.
Yeah, you're going to have to hit at those moments. As I was watching season 4 of 1,000 Pound Sisters, they were talking about how Tammy had 4 rock bottom moments. And she's been in the hospital and almost died 4 different times because of her size. And every single time, like, her family was like, we don't believe you this time. You've hit rock bottom 4 times, and you've desired to change and said you were going to change and lose weight. It's like after once should have been enough for you to realize what you were doing to yourself. After twice, you should have realized, oh, time is shorter than I thought it was. I really need to do this. But 3 and 4 times, almost dying, and now she has a trach in her throat. It's just absolutely sad that after 4 rock bottoms, and they were starting to hint and insinuate in the trailers, this isn't a spoiler or anything else like that, it's in the trailers, but it's starting to hint that she wants to get out of rehab and go back home, even though she's still massive. So how many rock bottom moments do you get? You might not get 4 rock bottom moments. Your time of death might be that first rock bottom moment. Like, your heart could explode tomorrow. Or you could have a heart attack and survive through that, and then if you decide to not change, your death can come at the second rock bottom moment, or you might have a third and a fourth. Our body is crazy, the amount of stress that it can handle. But at some point, it's going to go out. Like, it cannot continue. That's why the rock bottom moments happen. And so it seems like she is really realizing her rock bottom moment is coming. It hasn't hit her yet. She's starting to have health issues, but she knows it's coming. And she's going to have to decide if she wants to live. She's talking about living 70 to 80 years old, eating kale. You're not going to make it to 40. I don't know how old she is. She might be 40. I don't know. But to me, she looks like she's in her maybe upper 20s to lower 30s. But stop trying to talk about making it to 70, 80. Are you going to make it to 40 and 50? That's the question.
And I really want that to be my rock bottom.
She gets a medical scare, a very serious medical scare from what I can see. She gets very emotionally invested in the idea of changing and the dream of changing. And then a few days go by and she's not really as emotionally connected for her reasons for wanting to change.
MSG.
And she falls back into her old habits. What's happening here is she's really losing sight of her reasons for wanting to change. The emotional quality kind of fades away after some time. When you get a medical scare or some sort of wake-up call, your reasons for changing are crystal clear. You can really picture them, you can feel them, and they'll help you to drive your behavior in one direction. But as time goes by, food remains very salient, but your reasons for change don't. Food is everywhere you go. You can see it, you can smell it, you can very clearly visualize yourself eating it. But unless you've done the work to make sure that your reasons for change can stay top of mind, they won't really be there.
Yeah, I've always talked about how food is the worst addiction to have. Because you can overcome a cocaine addiction and just not go buy more cocaine. It's not like it's readily available on every corner of our country. I mean, you might know where you find it, but if I wanted to snort some cocaine right now, I wouldn't even know where to begin to find it. Like it's not readily available out there. Unless again you have your friend, your connection, and hopefully if you have a cocaine addiction you're trying to stop, you cut that friend off and you get that toxicity out of your life. But food is completely different because it's on every corner. They pump the smell of it into the air. It's on the ads, it's on the billboards. We were driving to the store yesterday. I was going with my mom, and she pointed out, why'd you have to put that steak bagel ad right there, right next to the road on our way to the store? It's like I was telling you my story about how I wished I had a steak bagel before my surgery, my last steak bagel. And then there it is on the ad every time we drive by the store. Steak bagels are back. It's like the temptation is right there. I have not gone and gotten a steak bagel since surgery. I refuse to. That's one bridge I will not cross. But I'm not going to lie and tell you that that temptation wasn't there. I could get it without the bagel, just the steak and egg and sauce part. But I'm not going to because that's just crap that I don't need in my system. So, it's just one of those things where you're going to have to decide what is more important to you.
In order to change for good, Chantel's perception of fast food needs to change indefinitely. It needs to become clear to her that fast food isn't her forbidden friend, it's her enemy. It seems to be the single greatest cause of the problems in her life, but she has to see that for herself and it has to stay that way. So how to stop obsessing over fast food? First, Chantel needs to connect more with her deepest held values. She needs to ask herself some tough questions about what her food addiction has cost her thus far and what it will cost her in the future if she does not change. She needs to discover how eating like this every single day conflicts with her ideal vision of herself and the hopes and dreams that she has for her future. She needs to spend some time thinking about her life story. Who is she? Where does her obsession with food come from? And where is she going if she doesn't change her ways? Essentially, Chantel needs to find a new vision of her life that she desires more than she desires keeping things the same, while also finding reasons that fast food isn't quite as attractive as she builds it up in her head to be. She needs to literally get to the point where her dominant view of food is that it takes away from her life.
Yeah, it's very easy to romanticize the toxic things in our lives, toxic relationships. But he's so cute, though. Really? He's an abuser. He's a manipulator. He's a narcissist. But he's cute, and you desire that sort of thing, so you put up with the abuse. Like, you're going to have to realize that those feelings take over your logical side, and it's all emotion. It's all emotionally driven.
More than it adds to it. I know for me, once I stopped and I figured out what was really important to me, it was just like this huge realization that I had been putting my entire life on hold, that I had been sacrificing my whole life for food. And once I started thinking of it in terms of that, it just wasn't as enticing anymore. Now, I'm not saying from that moment on I was like, poof, like I never want to eat bad again. It wasn't like that. I still wanted to a degree, but I wanted to change more than I wanted to keep eating like that. And it gave me the strength I needed and like the real start to start gaining control of.
Yeah, that's how it was for me. Like, I had to make that realization. I had to realize I had to take control of my life. I burned all my bridges. I was at rock bottom. There was nothing else that could change this except for myself, no matter how hard it was going to be.
Over my behavior. But it wasn't until I had this fundamental shift in realizing, no, this is not what I want, that I was actually able to start changing. Okay, second part. Chantel is focused solely on the momentary pleasure that she feels when she puts food in her mouth, while ignoring all the negative feelings that occur shortly thereafter. She's impulsive and she's biased towards short-term gains over long-term health.
And that's where the food addiction really plays a part, because it is that momentary pleasure. You feel all sorts of guilt afterward. You feel toxic. You feel like you got sludge in your system and you get bloated and you feel like crap for hours and hours and hours. And so you realize the way you're eating is hurting your body and you can't do it anymore. But you're so emotionally connected to food, it's an addiction for you. It is that sex, it is that pleasure. So it's like having a one night stand and instantly regretting it. Like in that moment you had the pleasure, in that moment your desires were met, that itch was scratched or whatever, but immediately you regret it. Immediately, it could lead to pregnancy, it could lead to disease, all those things. It wasn't worth it in the end. So you have to get to a point emotionally where you realize that one night stands are not worth it. You need to have a healthier sexual desire towards something more permanent instead of just constantly having one night stands, knowing that all the risks are out there. And I'm not trying to tell you what to do with your own body. I have my own views on that. But food is the same way. You have to realize that it's not worth the momentary pleasure that's eventually going to lead to disease and illness and will kill you if you don't get it under control.
We all are to a degree, but Chantel particularly so. To help combat this short-term bias, Chantel needs to connect with the other immediate feelings that accompany eating fast food. The physical feeling of indigestion, the loss of energy, the sluggishness, and possibly worst of all, that horrible sinking feeling we all experience as a result of letting ourselves down once again. These are all the immediate feelings that accompany eating fast food. They don't happen in an abstract future that may or may not happen, like a medical concern. They happen right now. And every time Chantel gets a craving, this is where she needs to refocus her attention. And for the third point, if Chantel does decide that she wants to lose weight, if she does decide that she wants to give up fast food, she needs to begin the process of detaching her identity as herself as a foodie and a food addict. She's built her life and her image around eating, and that makes it a polarizing force, bringing her back to it. Anyway, I'm not saying it's going to be easy or there's going to be this one moment where she just never wants fast food again once she decides what she really does want. It's not like that. It's really just doing the work, figuring out what you want, taking responsibility for your thoughts, and deciding whether or not the eating fast food in copious amounts every single day is really a behavior that you want to keep around in your life.
I'm going to end the video right here. There's still a couple minutes left. But yeah, what she's saying is very important. You're going to have to detach yourself from that. I've always had the identity of the big guy and I'm just funny all the time because internally I was suffering, and so I've learned to be funny to help me overcome my fear of other people, fear of being around people. And the way I would often introduce myself was telling a joke, a self-depreciating joke, making fun of myself and my size to help disarm people so they're not making fun of me, so that maybe they can think better of me. And that's how I've always introduced myself in the past, because I was afraid of what people thought of me. So you're gonna have to get to a point where you realize that your self-identity as a fat person needs to change, and you need to heal from that. And for Foodie Beauty, making all this money and stuff like that, that is another draw to keep her eating the way that she's eating, because she doesn't feel like she has to stop because it's paying the bills. She gets all this fame and attention for it. So while she wants to change, not only is her food addiction driving her to keep going, but also the fame and the fortune she's making from it. So she's going to have to do what Nick Ocado hopefully is going to do, and we've talked about before, where he decides it's time to start changing the whole storyline. He needs to stop doing the mukbangs, and once he starts doing a redemption arc to lose weight, he's going to probably have many more supporters. He might lose some of the people who enjoy watching the train wreck, who enjoy watching him eat, but he's going to gain so many more people who might now have respect for him. Because when you go through his comment list, there's so many disgusted people. Probably more disgusting comments outweigh the positive comments about his behavior. And so if he decides to change, a lot more people are going to have a lot more respect for him, and he might make even more money from that. So Foodie Beauty is going to have to change her entire identity, and that's where it's difficult. So anyways, that's my video for today. I know it's probably going to be like 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes, I don't know, but I'm sorry about that. I just enjoy sharing my commentary on stuff like this. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, please hit the subscribe button down below. Check out my About section. I have all kinds of links in there. if you want to join our Discord, if you want to join our Facebook, if you want to send a financial donation to help out our channel, and if you want to send me an email, my email is bigtbariatric@gmail.com. You can send me recipes. You can start a one-on-one conversation with me. You can send me requests, any videos that you want me to react to. Just send the YouTube link in an email, and I will do my best to get to it. Anyways, have a great rest of your day. God bless you.